yeah. to advancing the rights, visibility, and dignity of persons with disabilities in the territory. And whereas their collective work from championing accessible housing, leading inclusive public policy, empowering independent living, and challenging systemic barriers has left an indelible mark on the Virgin Islands and paved the way for generations to come. Now, therefore I, Albert Ryan Jr., Governor of the United States Virgin Islands, do hereby proclaim these four outstanding individuals as disability advocacy champions of the Virgin Islands, and encourage all Virgin Islanders to join in recognizing their contributions, celebrating their legacies, in the continuing work of building barrier-free, inclusive, and empowered territory for all. You know, I was one of those people that used to wonder why we have so much disability parking spaces. And God has a funny way of showing you why things matter and the reasons. Just so it turns out, it damaged my leg in a way that I had to wear crutches and I had a full leg cast. From getting out of my car to getting to buildings, navigating curbs, stairs, and other precarious things that seem normal in my everyday life, you begin to realize the effect these advocacy and these policies have on people's lives. Any one of us can become disabled at any given time, whether it be from blindness, from sickness, or a tragic accident. We have to be ever conscious that we are creating the opportunities and the accessibility in our community to make sure that we have access for everyone, not those of us with the full faculties. So today, I congratulate and celebrate those heroes of advocacy and invite you too to become a hero and advocate for the disabled Americans. Thank you so much and enjoy your day. God bless. Love you.
I'm just stealing the mic from him because you guys heard his name called. So what I'm going to do is read through the full proclamation, and as you hear your name called, we will, if you're able to, please stand. Many of you may remember Mark, who is no longer with us, and the community saw it fit to honor him today, along with our 4 other legends here with us. So I'm going to just start with him and go down the line of the rest of the proclamation. And after I finish his part, I'll have Ms. Butte read the rest. Whereas the late Mark Vincent devoted his life to creating a more inclusive, accessible, and equitable society, championing the civil rights and dignity of persons with disabilities throughout the Virgin Islands. Whereas, at the age of 16, Mark experienced a spinal cord injury that could have limited his future, yet he chose to instead embrace life with purpose and joy, earning his high school and college degrees while undergoing physical rehabilitation. Whereas his passion for global service led him to the Peace Corps, where he served in Somalia for 2 years, an experience that deepened his calling to advocate for others, especially those often left unseen. Whereas Mark moved to St. Croix in 1971 with his family, quickly establishing the island as his forever home and dedicating more than 30 years of public service to the government of the Virgin Islands, including his roles in vocational rehabilitation and the VI Developmental Disabilities Council. And whereas Mark Vincent served for many years as the chapter director for St. Croix Special Olympics, encouraging individuals of all abilities to thrive in joy, strength, and community. And whereas he became the voice, the face of the Virgin Islands Coalition for Visitability, a groundbreaking partnership of organizations committed to ensuring that homes are designed to be accessible. With zero-step entries, wide passageways, and functional first-floor bathrooms, enabling residents and their guests to age in peace and live independently. And whereas his tireless advocacy extended to the proposed Visitable Home Design Act, which encouraged homeowners to build with inclusion in mind by offering property tax incentives for accessible design, earning praise from legislators, and inspiring a long-term vision for housing equity in the Virgin Islands. And whereas, even at the age of 80, Mark left behind not only a network of loving family and friends, but also a legacy of laughter, leadership, and righteous disruption for the sake of justice. I'll now ask Ms. Felicia Adams-Brownlow to stand. Whereas Felicia Adams-Brownlow was a graduate of Charlotte Amalie High School, class of 1962, and she went on to earn her bachelor's degree in psychology from Bloomfield College in New Jersey. And whereas, while living in Berkeley, California, during the Vietnam era, she witnessed firsthand the challenges faced by returning disabled veterans. And whereas, upon her return to the Virgin Islands, Ms. Brownlow began working with the VI Social Welfare Department, now Department of Human Services, with a committed group of advocates, founded the Virgin Islands Association for Independent Living, a nonprofit launched in 1980 with federal support. And whereas, under her leadership, VIAIL has served hundreds of clients, offering federally mandated core services such as information and referral, peer counseling, self-advocacy training, and independent living skills development. And whereas her heart for community service extends far beyond her professional work. Can anyone attest to that? Including long-standing involvement with Iota Phi Lambda Sorority Incorporated. And whereas she has volunteered extensively with the Catholic, somebody help me with this word, Diocese, thank you, of St. Thomas and St. John, her home parishes, Saints Peter and Paul, and remains a beloved member of the joyful Beach Girls of Megan's Bay. And whereas, with 2 sons and 2 granddaughters, Ms. Brownlow's legacy of compassion and action continues to live through the lives she has touched, not only as a professional, but as a neighbor, a mentor, and a woman of deep faith. A round of applause for Ms. Brownlow. Ms. Butte, can you please give this? Surprise! We have to make sure she was here. It was like plugging teeth, pulling teeth. Can we now have attorney Archie Jennings please stand? Here Mr. Jennings was helping us with the proclamation, not knowing that he was included. It was actually a trade-off between who suggested who. Whereas Archie Jennings Esquire has committed over 4 decades to advancing civil rights, disability advocacy, using the law, education, and community engagement as tools for justice and transformation. And whereas he earned his Bachelor of Arts in Economics from Ohio Wesleyan University in 1973, and his Juris Doctor from the University of Denver College of Law in 1976, and has since been licensed to practice law in the state of Ohio, the Virgin Islands, and multiple federal courts, including the Supreme Court of the United States. And whereas, yes, that's a big deal, whereas Archie Jennings began his legal journey with the Legal Aid Society of Ohio, representing hundreds of clients in employment, elder law, housing, transportation, and neighborhood economic development, and later served as a litigation coordinator for Legal Services of the Virgin Islands, where he led class action lawsuits involving special education, healthcare, housing, income maintenance, and environmental safety issues. And whereas since 2004, Mr. Jennings has served as the managing attorney and at present, Director of Advocacy and Assistant to the Executive Director for the Disability Rights Center of the Virgin Islands, or DRCVI, where he not only handles complex legal cases, but also mentored, trained, and empowered a new generation of advocacy staff. And whereas his legal career has also included over 2 decades of active labor relations in his private practice, where he served as counsel to the American Federation of Teachers on St. Thomas, District 2A of the Allied Metal and Optical Workers, AMO, the Supervisors Union of the International Association of Firefighters, the Virgin Islands Nurses Association of St. Thomas and St. John, WAPA's Professional Technical Employee Union, and the United Steelworkers, becoming a trusted expert in employment and civil rights law. Whereas on July 3rd, 1997, Emancipation Day, Mr. Jennings played a pivotal role in launching the Virgin Islands ADA campaign, as the Disability Rights Center initiated an intensive 8-week litigation campaign against 27 businesses in violation of the ADA. That's a big deal, everyone. Working alongside a dedicated team of lawyers and community advocates, Mr. Jennings successfully challenged the ADA Title III discrimination across the territory's medical facilities, food services, entertainment venues, restaurants, retail establishments, communication providers, and hospitality industry, achieving full compliance outcomes that laid a strong foundation for much of the territory's subsequent progress on disability rights. And whereas Archie Jennings is a certified mediator for the District Court of the Virgin Islands and a national thought leader who chaired the legal committee of the National Disability Rights Network, while providing technical assistance to agencies through McFarland Associates and the Community Consulting Group of Washington, D.C., and whereas he collaborated closely with the University Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities, via USAID, the Virgin Islands Association for Independent Living, the Virgin Islands Deaf and Hard of Hearing Advocates, the Voices that, Family Voices, Beyond Vision, and many other organizations on various disability initiatives, demonstrated his commitment to interagency collaboration and early intervention. And whereas beyond the courtroom, Mr. Jennings has leveraged media to reach community as the co-host on DRCVI's long-running radio program, Ability Radio, on 107.9 FM and 93.1 FM to promote health literacy, mental health awareness, and disability rights throughout the Virgin Islands. And whereas Mr. Jennings volunteered as appointed state president of AARP Virgin Islands, where he advanced programs on aging, access, and equity, offering his leadership to an organization serving thousands of Virgin Islanders aged 50 and older. And whereas beyond his professional accomplishments, Mr. Jennings treasures his role as a devoted father to his two beautiful daughters and as a proud grandfather to his two wonderful grandchildren, who remain his greatest personal joys and sources of inspiration. And finally, whereas Archie Jennings has combined legal excellence with humility, service, and a deep personal calling to uplift others, making him a tireless defender of justice, a mentor to many, and a true disability rights champion. Can we have a round of applause for Attorney Archie Jennings, the third recipient of the Governor's Proclamation. Next, we ask Mr. Henley to come to the center of the room. Mr. Henley had no clue why I refused to copy him on the emails for the draft of the proclamation. He was wondering, oh, did you send it? Did you send it? You going to share it to me? I had to clip out his portion just to keep it a surprise. He has no clue that this is what, until he heard the governor say it. Even yesterday, I asked, did you see the email? Because I slipped it in there one time. I don't think he noticed it. But I just thank God for this moment because he's so deserving. Whereas Julian E. Henley Sr., a son of St. Thomas, is another bold and tireless advocate for the rights and dignity of persons with disabilities, whose journey from personal tragedy to public service has transformed policy, access, and awareness across the Virgin Islands. And whereas Mr. Henley survived a senseless act of violence that left him paralyzed, yet through unyielding courage, he redefined his life's mission, becoming a passionate voice for justice, inclusion, and empowerment for the differently abled. And whereas Julian Henley Sr. continued to serve in the private sector following his injury, even earning his scuba diving certification through the Stay Focused program in Grand Canyon, where he discovered under the sea the place where he discovered under the sea is the one place that you're totally equal, whether you have legs or not. And whereas he was appointed by Governor Albert Bryan Jr. in 2019 to serve as the Territorial Americans with Disabilities Act Coordinator, a role he lives and breathes daily, using both his personal experience and professional insight to push for a barrier-free Virgin Islands. And whereas under his leadership, the Office of the ADA Coordinator has launched key initiatives, including but not certainly limited to the Virgin Islands Accessible Beaches Project with access mats and water wheels, the Communication Accommodation Visor Card for deaf and hard of hearing motorists, and the Disaster Preparedness Expos that center the needs of seniors and persons with disabilities. And whereas Mr. Henley has served on the Workforce Investment Board, is the current chairman of the State Rehabilitation Council, a board member of the VI University Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities, and an active AARP Virgin Islands volunteer, continually lending his voice and vision across sectors to ensure accessibility both in physical and digital spaces. And whereas he brings an educational foundation that includes ADA training through Cornell University's Northeast ADA Center and a background in advocacy from his time with the Disability Rights Center of the Virgin Islands, where he co-hosted educational radio programming to raise awareness on disability issues, and whereas his consistent message that everyone needs to know what their rights are and be motivated to act on them, be motivated to act on them, I lost my line, has served as both a moral compass and a practical guide for empowering countless Virgin Islanders, and whereas Julian Henley Sr. has turned adversity into advocacy, pain into purpose, and challenge into community transformation, becoming a living testament to the truth that a disability is a possibility for anyone and inclusion benefits for everyone. And whereas beyond his public service, Mr. Henley is a devoted husband, father, and grandfather whose wife, son, daughter, and 2 grandchildren remain constant sources of strength and inspiration, grounding his mission in love, resilience, and legacy. I, Albert Bryan, Governor of the United States Virgin Islands, by virtue and the authority vested in me by the Revised Organic Act of 1954 as amended, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, July 15th as Observance of Disability Advocacy Champions of the Virgin Islands in the Territory. And I encourage all Virgin Islanders to join me in recognizing these 4 outstanding individuals for their contributions, celebrating their legacies, and continuing the work of building a barrier-free, inclusive, and empowered territory for all. And the governor read the rest of it in the video. Can we have one big round of applause for all of our barrier-free champions? And I will give you guys your certificate now. Thank you guys so much for your service. We have so many legends in here. These 4 at the tip of the icing, but we want to thank everyone for all of your hard work to this community. It does not go unnoticed, and every seed that is planted, it will grow. God will water it and it will grow. So we know that your work is not in vain. I'm going to now pass over the mic to Shami Carr and Ms. Butte for the ADA history, including the independent living movement.
I don't know if I can follow that. Wow, that was incredible. And I just feel blessed. I know every single one of them. I mean, obviously my boss, Archie, I knew Mark back in the days. I worked with Felicia, and Julie is just amazing. So I just feel so blessed to know every single one of you. And Telecommunication is a very, very expansive and ever-changing because we know technology is ever-changing. And that's enforced by the FCC, or the Federal Communication Commission. Now, Title V is always interesting because there's really a lot of gobbledygook, as we call it. It's all the legalese stuff. It's things like state sovereignty. It also talks about exclusions of the ADA. So that's really not a title we talk about too much or train about, but it is important to know there are 5 titles. And the last thing I want to end with, because I know we shorten our time just a little to make sure we stay on time and to give her time, is that with the ADA, I was just at the Independent Living Center Thursday, and we were just talking about why is the ADA so important. And it's really wonderful to know that the ADA is the most comprehensive civil rights law for people with disabilities, that it addresses every aspect of someone's life. And that's why not only do we live and breathe it every day, but we celebrate it as much as we can. And so I just wanted to pass it to Ms. Pugh and make sure you know what the ADA is, what it stands for, the structure of it. And again, I've got a PowerPoint if you'd like to hand up. It'll be at the front desk, and Ms. Pugh.
Hi, good morning again. Okay, I'm going to be talking about the IL, or independent living philosophy, and the emergence of independent movements, and where the center of independent living falls. Okay, for the independent movement started because the persons with disabilities was placed in a box. They were discriminated. They were stigma because when you had a disability, a lot of people were not allowed to come out of their home. They were not allowed to be in public. They were not allowed to live sometimes free. When I'm saying free, it means independently. They were institutionalized. So they had no freedom. We have come a long way from the 1960s. Okay? This is where the independent movement came in, and the emergence of independence. Now, for people with disabilities, you have a voice. You have a voice. And learning how to use your voice is where the Center for Independent Living comes in. We do self-advocacy. We do system advocacy, where you have a voice to say what you need in your own lifestyle, your own plan for your life, okay? People need to see themselves with power. And we're here to make sure that you exercise your rights for power. I'm talking a little with little words because we got some consumers in here that will not understand any big words. So I'm trying to include them in the conversation so they will understand. Okay. I'm not going to take up too much time because we are behind schedule, but independent living is in the community. So we're in the community. We're consumer control. What does consumer control mean? That the consumer has a voice, that they control what services they want, what programs they want, whether they want to live independently, if they want to go to college, and it's up to the partners involved to try to include their choices in their independent living plan. Okay, so we're a non-profit organization must be a nonprofit organization run by persons with disability. We have 51% have to be with persons with disability on our board and employees. Right now, I'm at 80% of our staff at persons with disabilities. So we are persons with disabilities serving the disability community. Okay? So, yes. We offer 5 core services: peer counseling, independent living, skill training. We have transition, that's transition from students to out of school, learning to live independently, budgeting, opening a bank account, learning to live life on their own without parental guidance. We're for persons who are working, who are, let's say, might be put in a home that do not want to be in a home, but would like to live independently. We're here to help you advocate for your rights as well. We do information and referral. Those are the ones where we might refer you to another agency, another nonprofit for services that we might not be able to provide for you, but we can get you that information. And of course, I've already mentioned advocacy. We're here to help you advocate for yourself. Okay? So if you need any services or would like any more information, please see me after the event. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. I'm going to hand it back over to
All right. Thank you, Ms. Butte and Ms. Carr, for the history of the ADA, including independent living movement. And we would like to call Mr. Cosme Harrison from the Department of Health, speaking on behalf of Public Health and Preparedness Division on 35 years of ADA, building accessible health services for all. Mr. Harrison, round of applause for him, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cosme Harrison. I work for the Virgin Islands Department of Health. I've been there since 2016 in some capacity, starting out in epidemiology as a surveillance officer, then moving on to become a public health consultant, focusing on the Zika outbreak that was occurring at the time, and then currently as an epidemiologist, focusing on vaccine preventable diseases. So a brief history about myself. Out of all my experiences within the Virgin Islands Department of Health, I do want to say the one experience that I value the most has been the one opportunity I was able to coordinate a pediatric specialty clinic where we tried to ensure that those children who were born with moms who had the Zika virus during pregnancy did not suffer any developmental delays, and if there were any identified, we were able to provide them some resources to aid in that developmental delay not becoming a lifelong concern. So, brief history about myself. Thank you all for the invite here today. It's always a pleasure to represent the department, especially to such an amazing group of individuals. So, distinguished guests, community leaders, advocates, friends, good morning. And it sounds like I'm standing between everyone and lunch, so I better make this worth it. My name is Cosme Harrison, again, epidemiologist with the Virgin Islands Department of Health. And it is an honor to gather with you today as we commemorate a landmark moment in our nation's journey, the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA. Today, we celebrate not just a law, but a commitment a promise that every person, regardless of ability, is entitled to dignity, respect, and equal opportunity. Before I begin, I must make mention of Mr. Julian Henry, and it definitely was appropriate that the governor commemorated him with all the other individuals. In every meeting I have attended with Mr. Henry present, he never fails to ensure the needs of individuals with disabilities are at the forefront of planning and operations. Individuals with disabilities should never be an afterthought, but a group where thoughtful, focused energy is directed to ensure they benefit from the best possible outcomes. Public health prides itself not on the success of one group, but on successes achieved by all members of the population. Public health professionals cannot undertake any work without considering all segments of the population. Today, I want to share with you a brief overview of what your Department of Health has achieved this year and an outlook on our future goals. First, I would like to highlight the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Program. Before public health emergencies occur, this team works to ensure emergency plans are developed, practiced, and reliable for the unique needs of our towns. The response to natural disasters does not start when the meteorologist notifies us of an incoming storm, but months before, as we plan and exercise our plans to ensure they can be realistically executed. This is a team that shares the message early and often to start getting your medications together prior to a storm and have a plan to keep refrigerated medications cooled in the event of this power. Allow me to share the following storm-ready tips. Have a cooler for medications prior to landfall. Fill a cooler with ice in case of power drops, or if you have a deep freezer available, fill it with ice so it can stay cooler a little while longer. If you have ongoing medical needs, ensure someone knows where to find your medical documents. And lastly, register for the medical special needs shelter with the Department of Human Services. In addition to disasters, this team prepares for large-scale disease outbreaks within our territory. The response to the 2015 Zika virus outbreak and the COVID-19 pandemic relied on the key partnerships developed by this program. As our world becomes increasingly interconnected, it is very possible for an outbreak that is many time zones away to be on our shores within days. With our limited resources, coordination with partner agencies and stakeholders remain a top priority. The department's response is strengthened through coordination with agencies such as VITEMA and Human Services, who strive to cover major social needs in times of crisis. However, our most important partner remains the public. Nothing in public health matters if the public disagrees with the approach or if their voice does not sound heard, if they feel their voice is not heard. The department works to serve the community where they are, eliminating barriers when possible to secure access to needed services. You may be aware that the department manages several clinics to ensure that the community's medical needs are met. These clinics, supported by our dedicated nurses and doctors, often serve our community members who are uninsured and unable to secure health care through other means. This team also conducts vaccination outreach, where they provide vaccine access in the community. The most recent example is a recent wellness fair where the department provided services to over 1,000 community members, highlighting our ongoing need for reliable and affordable care within the territory. This care does not end when the disaster strikes. Our department manages the operation of medical special needs shelters within the territory, ensuring those who have long-term chronic conditions that require additional medical care are safe during the impact and immediate aftermath of a storm. This partnership with Human Services ensures some of the most vulnerable among us are safe in blue skies and gray skies. Continuing on the theme of outreach, the department has championed a variety of outreach within the community. During National Public Health Week, the department made time to address the most precious among us, school-age children. This moment allowed us to reinforce one of the most important social determinants of health, education. Studies show those who achieve higher levels of education benefit from better health outcomes. The Department of Health values education and encourages all Virgin Islanders to tackle educational pursuits in all aspects. Our partnership with education continues with our behavioral health division, who engage with our teenage children in their schools to address their behavioral health needs as their minds continue to develop. Children and teens are not tiny adults, and our approach to physical and mental health need to reflect this reality. But I can go on and on about what the Department of Health has done, but allow me to share one item the department is working on that has the potential to improve how we approach public health. Your Department of Health is developing a public health decision support tool that seeks to combine data from multiple sources and leverage predictive analytics for the benefit of the Virgin Islands. As technology advances, we must remain ready to capitalize on the opportunities that are present. Predictive analytics refer to continuously analyzing data to identify emerging trends early to halt or prevent a negative outcome. It is important to note that as we undertake this project, human interaction and support is forefront in the process. This tool, currently known as the Universal Data Warehouse, is a collaboration of many stakeholders across the government of the Virgin Islands with plans to incorporate additional non-GBI stakeholders. The Universal Data Warehouse will provide us the opportunity to create and manage lawfully mandated disease registries, gain deeper understanding of our population needs, and have increased knowledge of where our healthcare dollars are being spent. Now, throughout this brief presentation, you heard me mention the word partnership many times. That is the most important message I want to leave you with today. Nothing in public health is achieved by one person for one person. Public health is truly a team sport, and the success of the team lies in the success of the community. Public health, by its nature, is inclusive of all people in our community. Let us go forward with a strong sense of partnership, collaboration, and community as we develop the Virgin Islands we are proud to call home. So, in conclusion, I'd like to invite you to visit our table outside. We have some students and Department of Health staff out there. And I always like to make my presentation somewhat interactive, so I do want to offer a brief moment for any questions, any concerns anyone may have. I'm open to tackling a couple of questions. Hello? Any questions from the crowd?
Well, I would just like to get an update first. Great presentation. I know that you do a lot of community service. You have vans that do so. Is those vans in operation now, or are you using them? Is it that point of time where, of the time of the year where you should be going into communities?
Thank you for the question, great question. The vans, yes, the vans are in operation. We do try to get them out whenever there's the opportunity for outreach. We most recently had them out for the same wellness fair I just mentioned, but I definitely do think we can aim to get them out a little bit more often. So it is something I've been trying to encourage both my division and other divisions to capitalize on. You're most welcome.
Any other questions from Mr. Harrison for Department of Health? Well, I heard a no. I didn't hear any yeses. Thank you so much, Mr. Harrison, for representing your department and for your remarks. Can we have a round of applause for him? Oh, we have a question.
Hello, good morning. My name is Chanel, and I have a question. If a deaf person was to go to a doctor's appointment and needed an interpreter, and the doctors denied them having access, what should we do?
While I can't speak for all physician practices within the territory, within the Department of Health, We do have a translation line that does offer both audio and visual translation. So at least within the Department of Health, you would be able to get that translation services through ASL if needed. But if that does occur, you should be able to at least send a notification to our commissioner's office, and they should be able to channel that up through the appropriate chain, whether that's internal to another division within the Department of Health or to our partner agency within the Virgin Islands.
Let me follow up with that, because doctors can be both public and private. And we just talked about the ADA, and if they are public, we know that's gonna fall under Title II. If they're private doctors, they're gonna fall under Title III. But Title II and Title III are both enforced by Department of Justice, so that is where you would file a complaint if you feel you've been discriminated with that.
Okay, just to add a little bit to that again, yes, one of the things that we've been facing is doctors who wants to give opportunity for a person to write down why they're there and the diagnosis that they might need. However, you have a right to file, to have an interpreter, because like Shamini said, that is the law that you should be following. However, it's just really a challenge to get Department of Justice sometimes to intervene, but that is your right to do so.
Yes, if someone is going for a doctor, are there enough interpreters in a private physician? Are there enough interpreters to go with that person to the doctor?
Great question again, sir. For the Department of Health, how our system is set up, it's an on-demand service. So as soon as you're in the clinic, no matter how many patients are there at a time, as long as they're being seen by a nurse or a physician, we can call that translation service, and it's a live service, so there will be a person on the other end providing the appropriate translation service that's needed. So that goes for Spanish, Creole, Mandarin, whatever language, also ASL, since we have the video option available as well.
So they have VRI service in several departments. The Department of Health was actually the first one that put VRI online, and then they went back and added the ASL portion of it. So they're doing just an amazing job in trying to keep up with all the demands for persons with disabilities. We have another question in the back.
You got time, you got time.
Good morning. I have a question about both ends of the spectrum on children with disabilities, with the growing population of individuals with disabilities, and then also the elderly population that's a growing population. How are we dealing with the services providing, to provide services for these guys on each spectrum? And are you guys the one that helps to provide services, or just, oh sorry, are you guys the one that help provide the services, or appoint people to provide the services, or do you guys provide data and information and present information to the populations, or how does that work?
Great question. Thank you for it. So while I make my way back up, I can give you the timeline on how the Department of Health tackles, well, shouldn't say tackles, approaches children who have developmental disabilities. So, first fact I want to let everyone know, and this may be a little known secret, but any child born within the Virgin Islands that is born premature is automatically eligible for the Infant and Toddlers program. And that program covers children from birth to age 3, and they're assigned to providers who manage their care, so if they identify any potential developmental disabilities or developmental delays, they work with them to get them caught up to their peers. That's from birth to 3 years old. All premature children are automatically eligible for that program. So if you have any family members, friends, colleagues who has a child in their family that was born premature and they do not know about this program, I strongly encourage you to let them know about it. That office is actually right up the street at the Elenco building across from Nisky on the first floor. So I always love to put a plug up for that program. I did not know about it. I learned about it recently, and I want everybody in the Virgin Islands to know. Because I've had family who have had premature children, and they did not know about this service. So I definitely want to be the change that I see in the Virgin Islands. So starting with that group, 0 to 3, they provide as much care as they can. That age range is so critical because once successful, that child will be caught up to their peers, and the developmental delay or disability would not have a significant impact on their life. They would, for lack of a better term, do forgive me, they would be, they would be as comparable to their peers as possible. However, after age 3, as they're getting ready to move on to traditional school system, your kindergarten, pre-K, your traditional schooling system, that actually shifts over to Department of Education through the special education program. So after age 3, Department of Education takes care of those children until they hit 18 or as long as they need that service. Does that help answer the first question, ma'am? Okay. As far as data, I have to check with that same program, the Infant and Toddlers program, and since they are sort of under the umbrella of the Maternal Child Health Division, they may have some data out there. It may be included in some of the nationally published information. We may have some locally. That's something I'll work on, and if I do get it, I'll ensure that that's distributed. Sorry.
Elderly population.
Yes. Elderly population. So I'm not 100% sure. So we do ensure that any service that we have within the Department of Health, that we do our best to make it accessible. Our community health clinics, they do tend to serve some of the older, some of the senior individuals in our community. So our community health clinic serves a lot of the senior individuals in our community, ensuring that they have access to care that's affordable and hits their needs. As far as social services, the majority of that would be human services, and while I'm not 100% sure how they approach individuals with disabilities, that's definitely a learning opportunity for myself. Any other questions?
It's a good time to get those answers. Grab them when you got it.
I actually have a question. I know a lot of people have been asking about the disability registry for disaster. Just wondering what, the status of that is. Who's housing that?
Department of Human Services actually have that list. So if you're not, we encourage you to get registered, because if a disaster happens, they would like to be able to find you after a disaster. So also we want to put a plug in about registering for VITRAN, because if you're an individual with a disability and you registered for VITRAN and you're not registered for VITRAN and something happens that you then need transportation to a shelter or the hospital or whatever, you're not going to be able to get that service, because they have to verify that getting to your home is accessible for the vans. So we encourage persons, we're in hurricane season right now, If you haven't done that, please do so.
All right, so I'm here. If there's any additional questions, feel free.
Question was if there's a fee to register. No, there's no fees to register. You should be on that list. I'm registered, I drive, but I'm registered because even going to the States a couple of weeks ago, I was still being able to transfer over to a paratransit service because I'm registered already in the system.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to add to what Mr. Cosby said and to what Julie and Henry said. I am Yvette Henry from the Department of Human Services. And I know the question was asked about the seniors signing up for the disaster registry. So what the registry does, we do have wellness checks from time to time during the year on our seniors who have disabilities and live alone. So we at the Department of Human Services are a proponent for individuals living alone and going through the June to November hurricane season. So we are currently doing wellness checks to that registry. We ask that everyone sign up for the paratransit unit by calling St. Thomas, take your pens out, 774-585678. If individuals are on St. Croix, you will call 773-1664, and on St. John, 774-0165. Do that in Blue Skies, do that now. As Mr. Henley said, they would need to come and check to see where you live, making sure that the vans can traverse the area and get you out. I want to admonish that we, even now in Blue Skies, everyone here, pack your go bags, have your emergency bags ready with your light clothing, your medication, your blanket, your neck pillows, because if you need to run out for any emergencies, you can just grab your bag and go. Also make sure within that bag, I always travel with it, have a whistle, because that sound travels a long way, and so when the Department of Fire EMS comes out and you're trapped, you can use your whistle and they will find you easier. Thank you.
We have another question.
Oh, the phone number? Yeah. Sorry. On St. Thomas, for the paratransit unit, 774-5678. Again, 774-5678. On St. Croix, 773-1664. And on St. John, 774-0165. Those call them now when the skies are nice and sunny, so that they can do their checking of where you live. Thank you.
So I have a question. How many people showing that, raising their hand that they have a go bag ready for a disaster? Just raise your hand. You don't have to say anything. 3 persons. Yeah. Okay. We gotta do these things. These are the thing that you should be having conversations with your children, having a plan. If such and such happens, this is where we're going. You need to have a plan. Because when it gets all crazy, then you say, they didn't come to get me. No. You have the power right now to go out and buy the things that you need, canned goods if you need, and all the supplies, water, for everyone that's in the house that would last you at least 7 to 10 days. All right. Thank you for all those. Please give a round of applause. did amazing. Thank you. We have another question in the back? Okay.
Okay. Yes. I did say we have many legends here. In addition to our disability champions we recognized earlier, we also want to recognize the representatives from the Office of the Governor. This did see Ms. Patrice Johnson, the Deputy Director for Communications. We do have our lovely songbird, our St. John Administrator, Ms. Shakima Jones-Brown, and the Director for the Bureau of Economic Research, Dr. Helene Davies. We want to recognize the former Director of the Disability Rights Center of the Virgin Islands, a legend, Ms. Amelia Headley Lamont. Can you please stand? And if you've served in a leadership position at any disability organization, we want to use this opportunity to recognize you as well. If you're able to, please stand or wave. Okay, I think we mentioned them all so far. And most importantly, the people we do it for. We are all legends just by being here. You're a change maker. Just the support alone, even if you do not have a disability, that empowers us, the members of the disability or the differently abled community, it empowers us to have a voice, to be supported. That means we can do anything. All it takes is the support of another. We all have loved ones who may have a disability, and just as we age, we're one step closer, and as many mentioned today, all it takes is one incident for your life to change. So just by supporting, we're all one step closer to inclusivity. So we are all barrier-free leaders. And Shami is going to pass the mic. After we have a commentary, she's going to do a little activity and tell us a little bit about the vendors that we have outside as we head closer to lunchtime.
All right, and Adita, did you have a question or a comment?
No recognition.
Yes, we have Miss Edina Carty here. Okay, so can you give us a wave? Another change maker that has been making waves in the disability community on St. Croix. I know we have special author here with us, and she'll give some remarks during the lunchtime. Miss Jacqueline Ang, I said it right?
Thank you.
Did I say it correctly? No, we gotta get it correct. I've never said it out loud, I've only written it down. Can you say your last name for us?
It's Angu.
Angu. Oh, I thought you were saying thank you. Ms. Jacqueline Angu, she's gonna tell us about her book. She has, and about her son. It's called How I Stim, Look at Me Stealing Your Light. And about her son, it was inspired by her son, and she'll tell you some more during lunchtime. So I'm going to pass it over to Shami to do a little activity. Before I do, I have a question. Who's hungry? Just testing the room. I know you're hungry. You tell us from Ollie. First thing when we go eat. Okay, so that's coming up. We are on time. It's only 11:12, so lunch is scheduled for 11:45. So you could just watch your time like that and then let us know if we go over. Okay, Shami, all yours.
I'm not going to stand between you and food, and I'm a disability advocate first, food advocate second. So actually, we'll serve lunch kind of orderly because there's folks who need to have lunch brought to them. And there's folks who need to eat first, and then we'll make sure that the queue is all set. So with that, I wanted, since we do have a few minutes, I want to do two things. One is I want to let you know who's in the lobby in terms of vending. As I mentioned, we have Department of Labor, and we have vocational rehab. Just so you know, those are the two public workforces that are Title II that are here to support employment. And other things, but rehab does a lot, and they're going to be speaking about their services in the afternoon. We also have Department of Health. Would you like to say that? Oh. Okay. That's the Department of Labor's rep. And we also have Department of Health and the Public Health Preparedness, who just spoke as well. We have the Independent Living Center, and we have VIUSED, which is our sister agency, and we also have with us tabling the ADA Territorial Office, okay? So please do visit them. They got goodies, they got great information, and as you folks know, I think everybody knows the atmosphere right now is very, very dubious. So we couldn't have a large expo, so we're so grateful to have you here. Last year, of course, we were down in the bigger space with a lot more vendors, but this is what is afforded, and we're just grateful to have an event to celebrate the 80th. So I'm going to do a little pop quiz, and then we're going to start to get ready for lunch, okay? So, first thing, who knows the first name or the year of the physical accessibility design? Anybody know? Like, for example, how far do we need to make something wide? What is considered an accessible bathroom? Parking. Does anybody know? Go ahead.
About 5 feet.
Hold on, we're gonna bring the mic to you.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say Title I.
Title I, not quite, but you're in the right area. Did you have a comment, sir?
Bathroom size could be 5 feet, 8 feet wide. 5 feet wide, 8 feet in length.
Right, now who or what dictates that? Okay, it's important to know because we know that the sidewalks here are atrocious. Yes, there are rules for sidewalks, okay?
And yes, there are prizes for correct answers.
So, has anybody ever heard of the Architectural Barriers Act? Okay, that was in 1968, I believe. And more importantly, you should know what the Access Board does. The Access Board is a federal entity that designs all of the physical built environment. They have what's called the ADAG, the ADA Accessibility Guidelines, or the ADAG. You can find amazing resources that are written in layman's terms. You can actually understand it without being an architect, okay? They've got things for outdoor developed areas, which is great for us, beaches, piers, I think they got fishing, they got all sorts of great resources, like Access Board. All right, gotta get a little easier. Does anybody know what year, and I kind of gave it away, that the Rehabilitation Act was passed? Did someone say 78? What's the answer? Anybody want to take a guess? Yes, Anita?
That's 73.
Yes, that's right. 1973. And that's, again, I mentioned it before because that is a predecessor to the ADA. And just so you know, I don't know how you would put it, not the auntie, not the grandmother, but the mother, I guess, of the Rehab Act. Anybody know who that is? Another very famous person.
F.L. Kennedy?
Not quite, but they were a big disability advocate family, the Kennedys, for sure. Anybody ever hear of Judith Heumann? Judith Heumann was a huge disability advocate. She recently passed, and she is considered the mother of the Rehab Act because she pushed and pushed and pushed. It actually was supposed to be passed earlier, but guess what held it up? Transportation, just like with the ADA, that's what held it up. So, that's very important to know the ADA, that paratransit falls under that, okay, if anybody wanted to know. Okay, another question. Now, this is for all the special education folks. Who knows the original name of the special ed law? Bonus points if you know the year. What is the original name of the special education law? And if you want to Google it, I don't mind, because this is a tricky one. You can cheat on this one. Please, someone cheat and look it up, because it is a crazy name. I mean, I say that because of what's in it. Anybody know yet? Anybody Googled it? It was called, in 1975, the Education of All Handicapped Children. So that's why I say it's a crazy name, because it's dated. This gives us an opportunity to say, who knows where the word handicap comes from? Yes, I have.
I think I know. Well, I think back in olden days, when somebody who was homeless or poor, they would beg with a cap in their hand, so it was like handicap. So as a result, many people with physical disabilities, they do not ascribe to handicap, they use the word disabled. And actually, locally, our legislature in 1990, no, that's the 88, why yeah, Mr. Henley, I cheating? I think it was, okay, I gonna confirm for you. Something telling me 99, but I might be wrong. But that's when the legislature officially abolished the word handicap and they replaced it with disabled. And even as a community, when speaking with the community, we use person first. I had to learn this. And we don't really say, oh, disabled people. We say people with disabilities.
Shami and Eddie is, no matter where I'm at, if someone says that and Eddie's in that vicinity, she's going to correct them. I mean, she is, I don't even have to be looking at the conversation. Someone just slips up and said that. But there's one other thing that adds to the word handicap is the horse race. So you have handicaps and horse races, and also, I think it's golf, right? And golf. All right.
I got 2 more questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up and get ready for lunch. Now, I only learned this about 10 years ago, and I just was appalled. But it gravely affected people with disabilities. And we were just talking about this at the Independent Living Center. True or false? Do you think that there was such laws called the ugly laws? Anybody ever heard of that? Yes, there were. And it was in Europe and it was here. And talk about superficiality, talk about, really shunning people just because they look different. And this atmosphere, we need to advocate with each other and for each other, because I feel like that big beautiful bill is kind of a big ugly bill. It has cut a lot of our programs, it is jeopardizing us, our health care, and that's why I bring up the ugly laws, because here we are in I feel in a very difficult environment. All right, last question. Last question. Who started vocational rehab? Now, it's not a person. It's a group of people. Who can you guess started vocational rehab? Does everybody know what vocational rehab is? Vocational rehab is a public workforce that serves just people with disabilities where they have a barrier to employment. Okay? And the whole crew is here. So you got lots of people to talk to. And they have other services as we'll mention. Okay? They're housed at Human Services and Hospital Ground. Okay, so voc rehab. Any guesses? She wins, absolutely, absolutely.
Can I get your name, please, and give you a prize?
That's Archie's family. That's Archie's favorite. Yeah. I'm gonna, it's, yeah. The answer are the veterans. The veterans, because recall that after the World War, and believe it or not, there was actually even some disability movements going on in the 1800s, with the Revolutionary War and different wars. There were soldiers helping each other in different ways. But it became very, very formalized with the world wars. And these people, these soldiers, were not disabled. So they were the local teacher, the local fireman, the local baker, the local mailman. Now, they come back and they have a disability. And they still deserve their respect and the rehabilitation. Therefore, they are the ones who pushed for the vocational rehab. And I will say lastly on that note, we have to thank the vets for so many things. So, and are there any vets here? All right. Thank you for your service, thanks for everything you do and continue to do, okay? Again, this atmosphere, I feel sometimes is not supporting the veterans enough. And I don't think it's just me. So again, we have to stick together, we have to stand up for each other, particularly the veterans. Okay? Now, what I want to do is wrap up by letting you know what we're doing next. So, we're going to do the raffle. Now, for those who didn't get raffle tickets, if you don't mind going to the desk and they will give you raffle tickets, we're going to start to serve the people who need to eat first or who need the food brought to them. Okay, so if everybody can kind of hold tight, or you can go visit the tables, and let's see the folks we need to first, and then we'll let you know when to get in line. Okay? And it looks like that the proclamation is actually going to be right here, enlarged, so you can read it as well. Okay? So again, if you didn't get your raffle tickets, let us know so that you can sign up. We've got a women's wellness package. We've got 2 chairs and umbrella from One Love Beach Rental for the day. We have $50 cash. And we have a little emergency kit. Okay? All right. So with that, I'm going to... All right, so let's get going with lunch and give us a few minutes. We'll be right back.